Good evening, Devas. Good evening, Lokesh, sir.
Good evening, Sahib.
Sahil, you want to just tell Lokesh a little bit about yourself, just so he has some background?
Um, so my name is Sahil Kumar. I'm currently doing my BTech from Maharaja Surajman Institute of Technology, and my major specialization is electrical and electronics. And I've been upscaling myself in software domain. I'm majorly I'm doing web development and all, and I know Python as well. For the past 1 month and more than 1 month, I've been working on this internship and all. So yeah,
Okay, nice. Glad to hear.
yes, sir.
Glad to hear. So you're studying in ECE or E right?
Triple E, sir. Yes, sir. Triple E.
Good.
Cool. It looked like this. What's her name? Devika. Rashmi. Rashmi is also joining. Okay, so let's whatever give him some time. In terms of the agenda, I think the one thing I want to talk about is just like the next feature set for Kitaabnama, which is this AI thing essentially. The other thing I want to talk about is way of work. So how we're going to work together. It's something we'll have to figure out, given that people have different schedules. And what I don't want to do is, with less than like 100% commitment, give tasks to people and then wait कि अच्छा वो लोग खत्म करेंगे. So I'm okay with
Mm.
kind of multiple people working on the same task and then working together and just figuring it out. Yeah, at least on mission critical tasks. I think, yeah, we just need to figure out how we're going to make everything work together. Um, so I think the main, let's take a quick look. Let's just do a recap of kind of where we are with Kitaabnama. So I think, Lokesh, anything else to add in terms of agenda?
No, no. I think
Okay.
this should do. We can like look back and then take it forward.
So obviously the app is live. Right now the tracking is not working. Adding books is working somewhat. The book reading experience itself is working quite well. I would say there's no
Mm.
issues. There's some things like mobile पे वो bottom line नहीं आती कभी कभी. वो कुछ ऐसे छोटी सी चीज़ें हैं जो मैंने नोटिस की हैं. मेरे फ़ोन पे like bottom line किसी किसी बुक्स में नहीं आती. तो but broadly it's okay. So the one, okay, so just in terms of where things are, I think this is also good to know, and this can just be a primer for everyone. So obviously the repo itself is on GitHub. I think we'll have to add people manually to this to be able to collaborate. No, Lokesh?
Mm.
Manually add करना पड़ेगा ना लोगों को.
Mm.
ठीक. ये रश्मि ने मांगा था ना. कैसे करते हैं? मैं हमेशा भूल जाता हूँ. It's not
आप
here.
ऐसे लिंक दे सकते हो लेकिन मतलब यहाँ पे करना पड़ेगा. मैं कर देता हूँ.
ठीक. ये होता कैसे? Anyway, okay, we'll have to add people to this. So all the kind of code is here. Then there is Trello. On Trello, we have two boards for Kitaabnama. One is the product board, where we are kind of working on the feature layer, right?
Mm.
Uh, and then we have the engineering board where we have engineering tasks, right? So these are more on the task level, and then one level higher than this, we have Figma.
उनका ये है क्या आपके पास ईमेल आईडी है क्या?
Rashmika.
हम्म. या आप ऐड कर दो. मैं बता देता हूँ कहाँ करना.
अच्छा कर लेते हैं अभी इसको. अभी ये देख लेते हैं. So
ठीक है.
here we have, this is the opportunity solution tree. If you guys, ideally people who are coming to do development should know what that is. It's part of the Is it part of the pre-commit? So there's a checklist for development checklist. You know what that document is called? अरे यार. Prerequisites for committing code. Um, so there's this prerequisites for committing code. Ideally, everyone should know what an opportunity solution tree is. So the opportunity solution tree and the designs and the engineering kind of architectural maps all live in Figma. We should compile all of these into the list. There should be one list of resources. We'll do that. This Figma, Sahil, you've seen this, but yeah. So this is the opportunity solution tree. This is where we come up with ideas and designs and we test things, right? Uh, so this is an important board, right? And then there is, these are all the designs that we had, right? Uh, and we do a, yeah. So we do a similar kind of flow to coding even with the design. So we have the base, then we create feature requests, we design them, and then when we merge them, the idea is that we will eventually update the master kind of screen flow that kind of represents the state of the application as is. So there should be one kind of set of screens that represents the flow of the application in production. Then when we want to create new features, we'll create this kind of new F block, right? Propose changes. When it merges, then we can kind of incorporate this back. So we want to follow that similar thing in terms of design. And I think the last one is this Kitaabnama engineering. This is more like a worksheet, but it represents the way that I think it makes a lot of sense to just approach engineering. And so the input that the engineering team is going to get from the design team, but we're all going to be mixed up. But the output of the design phase is a well-tested kind of design that's been tested with users, and we're like, okay, now if we go and implement this, we know it'll work, right? So that's going to be the first step. After that, we just break it down into layers. So we start with design, we figure out what API calls there are, what database operations they are, if there's any external kind of dependencies, tasks. And so what we want to do is just plan the feature really well here. And we're going to use the risk mitigation approach to development, which is kind of, get a big picture view of what the whole feature looks like, figure out what the riskiest parts are, start developing there, and, do that kind of just really have thought about the feature before we start writing code. Okay. So I think that's it. Those are the three things in Figma. So there's the opportunity solution tree, which is the root of how we come up with new product ideas. There's the actual design file, which kind of illustrates all the actual designs. And then we have the engineering board where we break kind of basically we'll take designs from here and put them here in this top layer. And then we'll start kind of architecting the feature underneath that, right? So it goes opportunity solution tree, signed off design comes here, then it goes here, and then here we then develop it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think that's the overview. Sahil, any questions at this point about like how this works? If you should ideally have access to all of these things. So you need GitHub access, you need Trello
Um,
access, and you need Figma access. Yeah.
I think I have the Figma and the GitHub access. I need the Trello one,
Okay.
All of these things are a little bit new to me, so I'm just grasping everything.
Okay.
I am understanding so far what you have told.
Okay. Just so you know, in the future, whenever you go to some slightly larger company, instead of Trello, they'll basically have Jira. Okay, Jira is your ticket task management system. Then there's a design system, and yeah, those are the two big things you'll always be interacting with. Okay, we just don't have Jira because it's expensive and we don't really need it right now. Okay, so now let's talk about two things that we need to build. So there's some small bugs on the thing. Uh, that's fine. There are actually two kind of features that I think are more important that I want to start thinking about right now. Um, so we should always start with the opportunity solution tree. So I think one is a more general all-purpose kind of feature, which is the AI kind of integration. The second is a more specific thing for kind of apprentices and just like helping them understand what they should be reading, basically. Okay, so how do we organize those books? How do we know what books we want to read? All that stuff. So that's a maybe a more design kind of problem. We've talked a lot about that design before, but that's I think maybe let's focus on that second. What I really want to do right now is talk about the AI feature. Okay, so let's do that. Where did it go? So the original idea for Kitaabnama was a personalized reading coach. So essentially, I don't know if you guys, again, I'm just like also recording this so that people in the future have a little bit more context. So there is a video on YouTube, and basically it talks about how the reason that we wanted to build Kitaabnama is that when I was a teacher, I realized that if you could teach people how to read, that was really great. And later, when I started working, I realized if you could teach people how to read, then they would never be, they could always figure out their own kind of professional path forward because they were always learning things. And the issue of doing that in school was there was no system wide program to be able to get students to read different kind of books or engage them with the right kind of books. There was generally no reading coach. Is a role that I played at some point to with I mean a fair amount of success, but there was no way to scale that, right? So how do we bring a personal reading coach to each child? So yeah, this is that kind of idea, and yeah, it's only 2 years old. Really. But yeah, so that's the idea. So even if we go to kitabnama.com, I wonder what we have on the website. I think we changed this at this point. Now I'm comfortable calling it AI build. So okay, so that's the whole primer on how we work and kind of what we're doing. Now let's talk about the feature. Um, so basically, the other day I've been playing with GPT a lot, and I was trying to read a book, and I just wanted to see if GPT could help. So on the live voice feature, there's a video button also. Okay, Lokesh, have you seen that? Uh,
Do we need to buy Plus for that?
Huh?
Do we need to buy Plus for that?
We'll have to figure out how to do that. We'll have to buy tokens. Yeah, we will have to do something. You can't see this, can you? आजा यार. Oh, cool. So there were two things that worked really well for me. Can you help me find a book? So just imagine that you have some list of books, and I want you to help me find like a book to read right now. I'm not sure what to read. Uh, I've had a long day, so I think I'm in the mood for some just easy to read fiction that'll just like entertain me and kind of take my mind off things. Yeah, maybe let's do the heartwarming novel. What's it about? Okay, how long is it? Okay, I'll try it. Can I read the first? Like, can you, yeah, give me the first two chapters or something? Okay. No, just stop for a second. Thank you. So this is where I want to hand it off to Kitab now, right? This is how they can explore, come. So what I want to be able to do is, yeah, create like a understanding of the user, what time of day they're coming on, like just all this contextual data that, you might know about a person and what kind of books they like, all of this stuff, how old they are, right? If they're like in their 30s, you're not trying to educate them probably. But if they're in their like if they're in school, then maybe you want like a different prompt to like encourage them to read kind of different things. So that's the interface for the beginning, right? When it starts. Then this is the interface that I was wondering if we could do um, once they're actually reading. Hey, can you help me
How
read
have
this
you
book?
opened this?
Huh?
How have you opened this camera?
Yeah.
Just doing swipe up.
No, no, you see this button here, bottom left button.
I don't see that.
On my screen, you can you see the video button?
No, no, I can see that. Like I can't see the same thing in my app.
Oh, yeah, it's weird. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, you open this. And hey, so can you read this book?
Of course. Let's
Okay. Let, no, no, let me try and read it. So just help me read it. Pretend like I'm a 6 year old, 5 year old who's trying to learn this language, and this is not my first language. So just help me in the way that a teacher would try and encourage a student to read. Correct me where I'm wrong, but don't tell me the answers unless you find I'm struggling. Okay. Okay. So not too means my baby. C'est la fille de l'hiver, moment où sort de sa tanière. That the end of winter, Mama Bear leaves her exits her cave. Un ourson minuscule marche dans un pas mal établi à ses côtes, à demi endormi. Il cligne les paupières sous le soleil printemps. Okay, let's break it down maybe. Un ourson minuscule. How do you pronounce this? Marcher d'un pas mal habile à ses côtes. Okay. Okay, so that's okay. Thanks. So these are the two things. I think if we can combine the first part, which is recommendation, and the second part, which if we can pass the screen of the user, then contextually they can answer questions. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So those are the two features. So yeah, does that, I mean, you get where I'm coming from in terms of the features that I'm thinking of,
Yes, sir.
right? Dude, imagine, because this is completely language agnostic. Once you get this, you can teach readers in any Odia, Bangla, whatever, like every
Yes, sir.
language. Like you have like a personal reader coach who can go and kind of help them read English and get better at English. And also like even for recommendations and that, it's just going to be very easy. Um, and so yeah, this I was super excited, man. I was just like, this is it, dude. This is like, this is what Kitaabnama was meant to be. When I saw
Yes,
these.
sir.
Uh, Lokesh,
Yeah, but I was trying to do the same thing from my app, but I am unable to find that camera option.
try updating the app.
I did.
नहीं हुआ? Are you paying for premium?
No, no, no.
Okay, I'm paying for whatever, $1.
Ah, okay.
हाँ,
$1 per month, all right?
$1 नहीं है भाई, $20 है.
अच्छा, $20 वाला, हाँ.
Uh, पर ये है भाई, like I think this is it. I think
नहीं,
It helps. It helps a lot.
this
GPT
वाला
helps a
feature
lot.
है, हाँ.
this is crazy, man. This is
आई
crazy.
मीन जो इसका नॉन पेड वर्जन भी है वो भी अपने आप में एक सुपर वेपन है, कुछ भी कर सकते हो उस पे.
But yeah, but I'm saying for this specific use case, if we can do it like this,
या.
right?
यस
If
सर.
GPT knows what books are there, if knows what kind of user it is, it knows what the user's past. Like we don't have to. We can like offload a lot of it if we can do the memory management correctly. We can offload pretty much everything to GPT, right?
यस सर.
So ये सब कुछ, it'll generate reports. It can summarize reports across a bunch of students. It can like tell you their reading. Like we can just solve English education essentially. And more broadly, we can solve like reading education with this in a way that, I mean, it won't solve everything, but I can't think of a better solution than this. Agar if this can't solve the problem, then I can't imagine what can solve the problem as of now, right? So this is what I want to incorporate into Kitaabnama. Um, okay, that's where I'm coming from. So I think there's two phases to this. The first phase I want to do is just figure out if we can get the voice thing working. And the second phase is eventually if we can get a GPT plugged into the reading experience. Um, it's going to be a buttload of work and it's going to be very expensive. I realize both of these two things. The reason that I think it's probably still worth it is because even though it's a lot of work, if we work on this and we figure this out, it'll require us to figure out a lot about how to implement these LLMs in kind of interesting, cost effective, memory efficient ways. And Yeah, I don't know, Lokesh, I haven't spoken to you in a while, but like, I'm like completely sold on LLMs and AI. I'm just like, I
Then
think,
I have a question here.
huh.
Then what about the form factor of our application? Because currently it's kind of a website form factor. Then
Huh.
in that case, we should provide an app form factor, right?
I think before we, okay, general principle, before we kind of do a lot of engineering work, I want to make sure we're going to get paid for it. दिस इज अ वेरी एक्सपेंसिव लाइक अभी हम किताबनामा ऐसे ही चला रहे थे उसका होस्टिंग कॉस्ट ₹2000 है हम ये सब
Mm.
डाल देंगे द कॉस्ट इज गोना लाइक इंक्रीज अ लॉट सो अग्री विद व्हाट यू आर सेइंग I think there's still like we can do all of this stuff even within the context of a web app. We don't
Mhm.
have to go to native app right now. And what I really want to do is like just prove out the use case and not create additional work until we know that we're going to get paid for it somehow, right? We need to get somehow somebody needs to pay for the development work. So I want to take the least kind of uh, engineering intense way to like make this work for now. And I agree with you in the long term, we'll need like a real app. That's where there'll be immersive kind of experiences. But right now, I think let's just stick with the web app that we have now. So yeah, does that kind of make sense? Like this is the direction to go in.
And one more question is like, are we going to work on the database that we have of books, or is it now open to internet?
We will still have to work with the database of books we have. I don't see how it will be open to the internet.
Because see, now एक हो गया जो feature है, the feature that we are working on or using, helping in reading any book,
Sorry, say
like
that again.
physical, in any physical book. They
No, no,
like just now.
that was just an
Mm-hmm.
example.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do that with that is not like that was a physical book, that was an example. What I want to do is have GPT be part of the reading experience. So right now it's on a book and I'm pointing it out. What I want it to be on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we can
Understood.
pass it the
Mm.
basically you can share screen and pass it whatever's happening there. So it knows like man, the coolest thing is I can point to the word and be like, what does this mean? Right? That's
Mm.
so natural and intuitive.
Mm.
Ideally, I would want that. So I mean, in on the desktop, we can do it with the mouse with
The
with a
selection of that word,
हाँ
with the selection of that word.
हाँ वो cursor से दिख जाएगा GPT.
हाँ.
Even on the phone, I think there's a way to do it, which is wherever the user's touching. So you tell the user, listen, you have to touch where you read, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can pass the GPT like the coordinates of where the user is touching and tell them. That's a very long term. I'm really not worried about that for now, but in the long term, I think there is a way to do that. Uh, yeah. So the answer to your question is when we give GPT the voice, whatever, what we need to figure out a name. Let's call it Swati. Let's call Swati our reading agent. Okay. So we're basically creating an agent. And so what we'll pass to Swati is a list of all the books that we have on the platform. And so she'll constrain her recommendations and search to books that are on the platform, right? Because yeah, recently somebody like messaged me and they're like, oh, can you like send me some books? And so, I had like a lot of books. मैंने भेज दी उनको कुछ 6-10 gig की books भेज दी, but उसमें वो कैसे ढूंढने? So I was just like, even a great use case would be just to index all of the books, pass it to the model, and then
Mm-hmm.
just help the model figure out what book to read. Right? I think that's a great use case in itself. I think that's the use case I want to start with. Okay.
Mm.
So what I want to do. Uh, so there's this button. You click the button, right? Uh, for I don't know. I'm just freestyling. I actually don't know what I'm going to write here. But input to the agent is kind of the list of all the books. Okay. This is before the chat. In the chat, Agent understands and remembers details about the user, such as reading level, kind of age group. So, are they like a small kid? Are they a medium kid? Or are they an adult? Uh, reading level, right? Reading preferences. So, what do they like? What do they not like? What have they read so far? For this, Lokesh, do you remember that feature of you take a picture of your books and upload them?
Ha.
Now it's very easy. You just turn on the camera and just show GPT.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So reading preferences. Then the other thing was jobs to be done. Why are they reading? Are they reading to learn, for amusement, whatever, distraction, something, something, something. Okay. Uh, so right now, what I'm thinking is, in our current application, we have some whatever, right? We have this book catalog. This is the library page, right? These are some other menus, right? So what I'm thinking is we put a thing here and it's called like talk to Swati. And then when you press this, essentially we get exactly like this. You talk to Swati on the screen. And then in the long term, what I want to be able to do is like Swati can add and open a book. So when I say, hey, yeah, like that sounds like a great book, like that book just opens on the UI and gets added to my library or something. That would be really nice. Uh, so these are like future capabilities. So this will have to like, man, this will be so cool. Can you imagine like you just tell the AI, oh, add this to my library, remove this from my library, like show me just these books. If we'll have to like create API kind of API endpoints to be able to do all this, and then we just allow the agent to call those endpoints and like change the
Mm.
app experience. You can navigate the app using kind of AI. Right? Can add open books, whatever. And then a future also, Swati is able to see your page as you read, tell you the meanings, context, etc. Very, very much later on, what I'd like Swati to be able to do is summarize the book, summarize the chapters, rewrite things, change the language dynamically, right? So right now we have a static document model that's kind of what we're displaying the book with. And I would eventually think it would be very helpful to see if Swati can just like change that text. You're just like, oh, whatever. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Can I just take that chapter and change it? I think that would be really cool. Really cool. Okay, so those are the things that I think we can do in the future. For now, what I want to do is create this button and then have kind of this stuff happen. Just essentially have Swati to be able to talk to you. And ideally, अभी तो हम यही कर सकते हैं और कुछ मत करो. Eventually, I think what will make sense is for Swati to create kind of profiles of the individual users. But right now, we don't even need that. We can just pass a very general kind of, instruction, which is just talk to this user, and help them find what books to read. And these are the list of books. I think that could be the first prompt. Right. And then for kind of how to implement this is what I had. Open it out. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? ChatGPT. Yeah, so we're going to need a voice to text integration of some sort. Then, yeah, it looks like there's a context aware API. I think let's just use the cheapest model, which I think is probably Mini 4.0 or something like that. I think I don't know, Lokesh, have you like looked much into GPTs and developing
No,
LLMs?
no, I
Uh,
haven't, to be honest.
I
So,
think, sir, Llama is also good.
Okay. Ideally, we
Mm,
wanna let's keep it so that we can swap out the let's not hard code to GPT. Let's create an interface where there's a generic kind of model at the other end, and then we can just plug in the implementations. So eventually, if we have like, I think in 2 3 years there'll be like lots and lots and lots of models. Like already there's like 5 6, right? There's Anthropic.
yes, sir. So
There's
Llama is executed it. You know, a lightweight model.
You're breaking up a little bit, but sounds like it's a lightweight model of some company.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, but yeah, there's a bunch of them. So let's kind of keep ourselves not specifically tied into any implementation. For the prototype, it's fine. What I really want is just so now we need to sell it. Okay, so what I would really like is just a proof of concept that's live on the application, where we can, and it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Lokesh, we have staging also, no?
Mhm.
So what we can do is instead of putting it on production and opening it up to everybody and costing ourselves tokens, we can just create like a prototype version. 'Cause I think this is really cool, man. I think if you take this to like the education ministry and if you take this to like, policy makers in the education space, they will see the value of this. It's insane. It's insane. So what I really want is like just a proof of concept that we can go around and demo right now. Um, Ideally, so let's just start with just plugging in, just creating Swati on the UI. You can just go and talk to her. She understands something about you, and yeah, okay. uh ठीक है, सही है. Okay, let's break this down. What are we looking for? Figma. So make a screen. This is really simple. Just like make a button, right? This is where the this is where the meat of the problem is. Record audio is not such a huge problem. वो तो हो जाएगा. Transcribe audio is also not a big problem. There's a bunch of APIs that can do that. And yeah, it's this query API. And here there's a few big questions in my mind, which I think it might be worth asking somebody who knows lot more about kind of LLM development than I do. But the questions in my mind are, how are we doing? So I think right now we can just pass everything in the context, in the context window. Okay, so yeah, Lokesh, I went on a crazy, like not as much as I would have wanted, but I went on a fairly like robust deep dive. So yeah, there's how to manage memory, I think, is one of the most important kind of questions because basically here man, वो मैं एक सेकंड, चलो बात कर ही लेते हैं. So दो चीजें मैंने समझी हैं. The first one is that basically essentially the model on the base level is stateless. Okay, there's
Mhm.
no, it doesn't remember anything. All it takes is take input text, output text.
Mhm.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So basically, like memory management. It's all about memory management. Uh, and so there's a few ways to do memory management. The first one is the simplest way is you just pass everything in the context window. Okay, so that's the length of the input that the model can take. It's
Mhm.
normally around 24,000 tokens or something. So you can pass like a fair amount of memory. So there we'll have to just like write down exactly what that AP, basically we need to figure out what that API call looks like. If we're storing any memory, how we're storing that memory, and how we're deciding what to pass back in the next prompt. Okay, that's the meat of our problem.
बस बनाना पड़ेगा, कॉन्टेक्स्ट बस बनाना पड़ेगा.
हाँ, कॉन्टेक्स्ट बस बनाना पड़ेगा. सो ये है, ये वही है, कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो है. sliding window, new tokens, push
Mm.
out the older tokens, it's erased when the session ends, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then you can, what is this? Huh. So you're taking the old kind of stuff and then just appending it back. It's almost the same thing.
I did.
Okay. This is a little more, so you can create embeddings which are like vectors. I don't know exactly how this stuff works, but basically you're encoding the chat into a more efficient way. And then when you are doing the query, when the user writes a prompt, you're querying this other database, embeddings database, and passing like key value pairs, to the prompt. Then you can do it a little more fancily rather than just doing a raw search on the keys. You can do a
Mm-hmm.
semantic kind of search, right? So here you can use
Mm.
a model also to do the search. And then, yeah, 3 and 4 are very similar. And then LangChain, you basically combine a bunch of these features, right? So how do we do memory management? How do we optimize that? And how do we optimize the context window? And how do we optimize the model? So we're assuming that the model is kind of static, which it is. I don't really think it makes sense at all at this point to get into kind of model tuning, but there was some stuff in the documentation. Uh, there's some things where basically you can train, like you can tune a cheap model for specific use cases and get it to perform better. Where are the docs, man? Uh, एक था इसमें कुछ मॉडरेशन नहीं, फाइन ट्यूनिंग, नॉट बी फाइन ट्यूनिंग, कुछ और नाम था इसका है कुछ. I mean, there's ways to like play with the model. So basically, like memory, models, and the context. That's the stuff that we have to play with.
Yes, sir.
Right now, I just want to do something really simple, and we can iterate on it as we go. But yeah, let's get something into the application. Uh, mm, so let's go back to Figma. I'm wondering if right now we can restrict it. I don't know what you're seeing. GPT. Guys, tell me when your attention starts to wander. We'll take a break. It's been almost an hour. Okay, so now we need to figure out how we're doing storage. I think for now, just use a model that's fairly contextually aware. Stick with one user. So don't, yeah. I think we do need to write the initial prompt, write the agentic prompt. Uh, right, I think that's a task here. Um, yeah, this looks like about it. It's not that much actually. And oh, pass it the including. But this may be like a whole thing. I don't know if we can do all of that. Yeah, so again here memory management. Once it figures out, maybe it can, once you ask it to recommend like a fiction book, then
Mm-hmm.
as a part of the logic, it can go and query the database and just get a list of all the fiction books or something like that, right? So this is, yeah, I think let's just get a really dumb version working first. Maybe we can restrict it just to the, I don't know, Lokesh, how should we do this? Because obviously we don't want to give access to everyone, or should we not even worry about that for now? And abhi bas bana do, staging mein rakho, deploy mat karo,
हाँ, स्टेजिंग में रखना बेटर है
है
क्योंकि
ना?
मैंने देख तो ले क्या क्या चल रहा है, कहाँ कहाँ तक चल पाएगा।
ठीक है, ओके, देन दिस इज द
उसके बाद
टास्क.
फिर बीटा टेस्टिंग करेंगे।
Agreed. Okay, cool. So this makes sense to me. Record the audio, transcribe the audio. This makes sense to me. How we do the storage? Yeah, this I think is the hard part. This somebody will have to investigate. Take a really naive, easy approach for now. Let's get it working. And then based on the performance, and let's just start with the worst, like the least kind of complex, like dumbest models, dumbest implementation. Let's see what that gets us. And then let's kind of try and optimize from there. Okay, अगर उसी में बात बन जाती है तो फिर बहुत ही बढ़िया है, फिर कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है ना. um,
क्योंकि अपने को उतना चाहिए नहीं होगा, उतना कैपेबिलिटीज नहीं चाहिए होगा। इट विल बी एन ओवरकिल फॉर अस टू गो फॉर लामा और इनका मिनी और फोर या जो भी है। बेसिक मॉडल वुड डू
Yes,
बिकॉज
sir.
इट्स जस्ट टेक्स्ट।
हाँ, let's go with the
I,
really basic model. Let's not go like, but there's a, yeah, I think what we're really
um,
trying to do is, go ahead. Just sorry, let me finish
uh,
this. What we're really
okay,
trying to,
yes, sir.
when we show this demo to someone, it should just like, it should feel great, right?
Hmm.
That's it. It doesn't need to perform like fantastically. Edge cases don't matter. We're basically building a sales prototype, right? How do we show people the value of this? I think that's what we're going for. Yes, sir.
So now I was saying that recently I was building a project for the college. So I
Huh,
was making a AI powered health coach or something.
huh,
So I used Gemini free API. So
huh.
that is also very good. Well, it does the thing pretty well. So we can
Wait,
use that.
okay, fine by me. Fine by me.
इवन डीप सीक भी तो फ्री है, डीप सीक तो पूरा का पूरा फ्री है।
Yes, DeepSeek is basically ChatGPT. It is totally trained on
बेटर
ChatGPT.
बेटर वही है कि उसके पैरामीटर्स भी ज्यादा है डीप सीक के, एंड देयर इज नो कॉस्ट हम लोग।
Yes, sir, definitely. DeepSeek is basically ChatGPT is
द
trained on
ओनली थिंग इट्स
ChatGPT.
चाइनीज। अगर
Yeah,
वो कुछ है नहीं अपने अंदर तो फिर
अभी
वी कैन
तो
यूज इट।
हाँ, अभी तो
I
कुछ.
mean in no major organizations में जिसमें गवर्नमेंट रिलेटेड चीजें हैं उसमें DeepSeek बैन है. DeepSeek यूज नहीं कर सकते.
हम लोग थोड़ी बताएंगे कि डीप सीक यूज करें, जस्ट यूज केस। अब जो मॉडल बोलोगे वो
Yeah.
मॉडल प्लग इन कर सकते हैं बाद में।
Let's make the implementation loose. Let's not like let's just, you know what I mean? Let's just abstract the API implementation. So just call it.
क्योंकि मॉडल सबका सिमिलर सिमिलर स्ट्रक्चर होगा। जितने भी मॉडल्स आ रहे हैं इनका
Hmm.
मतलब वो इवेंट बस होगा या फिर वो टोकन का बस होगा। स्लाइडिंग विंडो के कॉन्सेप्ट में काम करेंगे। कॉन्टेक्स्ट होगा, मतलब मोरलेस जस्ट एपीआई बदलेगा,
API.
टोकन बदलेगा, बाकी सब चीजें सेम ही होंगी मॉडल्स।
So Lokesh just designed that as a kind of loose implementation and just create a interface that's callable and that's implemented in by the specific kind of tech. Yeah. Cool. Uh, does make sense?
Yes, sir.
यस।
Okay. How do we want to do this?
ठीक है, एनी प्लान दैट यू गॉट?
See, I think I know that Sahil is up for this. I know that he's interested, he's around, and he's engaged. I'm comfortable trusting him because Sahil, just so you know, like it's really like this is a really expensive part, is like working together on people.
Yes, sir.
I'm comfortable with it where he is right now. So I think Sahil के साथ काम कर लेते हैं. और कोई आएगा. What I don't want to do is like spend our time training people and working with people who then like vanish one day or don't finish their tasks. So I think Rashmi also seems really interested. Let's see who else comes.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir. By the looks of it, she was interested. She was wanting to work on some feature.
हाँ, तो उसको देख लेते हैं अभी. I think you guys work on this. Again, Lokesh is available on Wednesdays and Thursdays, kind of for
या।
this hour. That's his window. Outside
Yes,
of
sir.
that, I'll let you guys coordinate and just like work on this.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Is that okay, Lokesh?
या
ठीक है, आप दोनों काम
किक
कर
ऑफ
लो.
कर देते हैं एंड देन बेस्ड ऑन फिर वो रिक्वायरमेंट के बेसिस पे जब भी जरूरत पड़ेगा दे कॉल और समथिंग लाइक
हाँ,
दैट। फिक्स टाइम तो रहे
Yes,
रखेंगे
sir.
ही रखेंगे।
हाँ,
एंड लाइक जैसे पहले करते थे, जब भी कोई इशू आता था तो वी कैन गेट ऑन टच एंड
ठीक है.
सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम।
So, Lokesh, do you want to just like figure out some plan in terms of tasks, how you want to break it down, the order in which you want to do it? let
What I would suggest is कि सबसे पहले मतलब let them get familiar with the API and the application. मतलब application को एक बार देख ले लो, मतलब the
एप्लीकेशन
code
को
and all.
समझने की क्या जरूरत है अभी?
नहीं, कोड मतलब कहाँ
क्यों?
प्लगइन करना होगा, मतलब इंडिपेंडेंट बनाएंगे क्या?
नहीं, उसमें क्या है यार, उसमें तो एक पेज पे एक बटन डालना है।
हाँ, रीडर, क्योंकि रीडर अपना नहीं है ना।
रीडर में नहीं कर रहे।
रीडर, बट आपका तो वही यूज केस है ना, रीडर से स्टार्ट करेंगे ना।
नहीं नहीं, let's not start with the reader. Let's start with outside the reader. Because the reader you'll have to do more. You'll have to pass.
हम्म,
It's a little more complex.
क्योंकि वो अपना नहीं है, रीडर जो है इट्स थर्ड पार्टी रीडर।
No, but also when you yes, you're right. We'll have to bring that experience into the reader, which is a separate
हम्म
application actually,
हम्म
right?
हम्म
So
हम्म
that's true. The other thing we'll have to do is start passing the uh, images of the screen.
हम्म। तो
So
फर्स्ट यूज केस क्या डेवलप करेंगे ये बताओ आप लोग।
just well,
I think first use case can be like just adding books in the library or something like that.
no, guys, just conversation. Just tell me what books to read. And then what we can do is,
सजेस्टिंग मैकेनिज्म मतलब रिकमेंडेशन कह रहे हो आप।
recommendations. That's it. Just conversation and recommendation.
Okay, book
समझ,
recommendation.
बुक रिकमेंडेशन ना बेस्ड ऑन द डेटाबेस दैट आई हैव। तो
Correct.
उसको करना क्या होगा कि देखना पड़ेगा कि व्हाट ऑल। हाँ तो आई थिंक साहिल व्हाट यू कैन स्टार्ट इज
Yes, sir.
सबसे पहले कि एक बेसिक कम्युनिकेशन कैसे करते हैं, डीप सीक हो या जो भी लेना चाहते हो वो जो फ्री है उससे काम करना स्टार्ट करके
Hmm.
Yes,
इजी
sir.
रहेगा, क्योंकि एक्सपेरिमेंट कर सकते हैं हम लोग, वरना फिर
Yes, sir.
कॉस्ट कंस्टेंट आ जाएगा बहुत सारा,
Hmm.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
एक्सपेरिमेंट नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो डीप सीक ले लो एंड व्हाट यू कैन डू इज जस्ट एक एग्जिस्टिंग कोई भी पेज ले लो, लेट्स से होम पेज ले लो, वहां पे एक आइकन ऐड करके जस्ट व्हेनेवर यू क्लिक ऑन दैट आइकन मेक श्योर यू आर बीइंग रिडायरेक्ट टू डीप सीक्स चैटबॉट और व्हाटएवर द चैटबॉट को जा रहे हैं, एंड देन आगे का एक एक करके सॉर्ट कर लेंगे फिर।
Correct. And in
Okay.
fact, right now, don't even worry about persistence. Don't worry about memory management. Don't worry about contextual awareness. Just get the work, the
हम्म
chat. The first
Um.
step is just get the chat to
Uh.
work.
uh, One thing I want to. You said directed to chat box. So chat box would be in that app only, or you want me to redirect to DeepSeek?
नो नो, डोंट रिडायरेक्ट टू डीप सीक इन दैट ऐप ओनली,
In the
उसका
app.
The
रिस्पॉन्स मिल जाना चाहिए जैसे अभी मिल
ओके,
रहा है हम लोग।
मतलब बेसिकली रिस्पॉन्स एक चैट बॉक्स होगा बगल में कहीं
हाँ,
पे, और वहां पे
बॉक्स
रिस्पॉन्स
हो गया,
आना
वॉइस
चाहिए।
वॉइस कर दो,
Voice
वॉइस
kar
से
lo.
कर रहे हैं हम लोग।
Voice karna hai.
Okay, yes, definitely. Google text to speech. I have done that. I have made something like this already.
Yeah.
ओके देन परफेक्ट।
ठीक है. Cool. Okay. So make a button. Take that button to a different screen or however you want to do that. If you want to keep it on the same screen also, that's okay. You don't need to just start it somehow. We'll have to.
Yes sir. बेसिकली
सेशन स्टार्ट हो जाना चाहिए अपना। हाँ।
अभी क्या कर सकते हैं, जैसे बहुत सारे वेबसाइट्स में एक छोटा सा बगल में चैट बॉक्स होता है, उस टाइप का क्रिएट कर लेते हैं। वहां पे उस
हम्म,
चैट बॉक्स में आंसर आ जाएगा जो भी, और वो मतलब बेसिकली आपको बोल के भी बता सकता है कि यू कैन रीड दिस बुक।
ठीक है. सही है. एक मॉडल क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा. उस मॉडल को you'll have to surface it on top of the page. You'll have to look a little bit at UI, but okay. Yeah.
यस सर। ओके सर।
Cool.
या कूल।
Okay. Can you guys manage this? Obviously, I'm around. Like, ping me, and let's keep a check in on kind of what's going on. But
हम्म,
yeah, let's do this. Cool. Sweet.
यस
ठीक
Uh,
है,
सर डेफिनेटली।
लेट मी नो साहिल व्हेनेवर यू वांट टू किक ऑफ।
तो
um
तय कर लेते हैं ना क्या करना है अभी. What do we need to enable Sahil to do this?
नो नो, मैं वही पूछ रहा था क्योंकि
He
द
has
थिंग इज
access
ही
to
हैज टू
the.
स्टार्ट। हाँ,
He
एक्सेस तो
has
मिल ही गया उनको।
he has access.
अगर वी कैन स्टार्ट एंड लेट मी नो व्हेनेवर लाइक कहीं पे भी कुछ भी फेस हो रहे हो।
No. Wait. Then
यस
let's.
सर।
No. 1 second. Then let's make the tasks very clear for Sahil. Let's make the task very clear. 1 second.
तो ट्रेलो कर लो ना फिर आप,
हाँ wait.
एंड ट्रेलो में से आई थिंक यूजर्स को रिमूव करना पड़ेगा।
हाँ. Mm, mm, Sahil, try this. See if this works for you. Can you join this? Show progress on library page. ये नहीं किया ना हमने. नहीं. Progress bar. नहीं किया. ये कैटलॉग ये शायद ये ठीक कर दिया था ना.
हाँ
राइट केस स्टडी फॉर सेल प्रोजेक्ट. ये तो अब कभी यार ये करवाना है किसी से मुझको वैसे.
क्या चीज?
ये जो हमने काम किया था सेल के लिए.
सो केस स्टडी लिखना होगा ना?
ये केस स्टडी लिख लेते हैं ना. आप जीपीटी के साथ लिख लोगे.
मैं लिख दूंगा।
आपको
मैं वीकेंड पर लिख दूंगा।
आपको पता है ना सब कुछ हमने क्या क्या किया है क्या कौन
हम्म।
ये सब. एक हम छाप देते नहीं तो हमें क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा कहीं भी. हमने काफी काम किया था इसके लिए.
ठीक है, मैं कर देता हूँ उसको।
क्रेडिट्स. ओके थैंक्स. ओके टास्क. क्रिएट अ button. Okay, you are right. On the library page. So let's go to the library page. Hey, you are having some problems. No, Sahil with getting it working on local. कुछ issue हो रहा था ना books library के साथ.
यस
तो
सर, वो बेसिक वो उस पे रीडायरेक्ट हो रहा था जहाँ पे आपको वो ईपब फाइल अपलोड करनी पड़ती है।
हाँ because वो database wasn't connected somehow. है ना.
यस सर।
Okay, कोई. Okay. Um. So where is the right way place to do this? It's actually on Figma, Figma. Kitaabnama prototype. What are we calling this? Feature slash. Swati. So okay. Bring to front.
ड्रॉप हो गया क्या शायद?
Huh? Drop over.
साहिल ड्रॉप हो गया।
Text. I have to think of a better name, but it's okay. This is kind of what I wanted. Short for Saraswati.
नाम सोच लो आप।
So it's the Liya, short for Saraswati.
सरस्वती।
Yeah, no?
सही है, नाम तो
है
सही
ना
है।
यार. हाँ मुझे तो लगता है अगर इंडियन गवर्नमेंट वगैरह को बताओगे सब तो बड़ा खुश हो जाएंगे. और मुझे एक्चुअली बहुत अच्छा नाम लगता है. आई थिंक आइडिया ऑफ लाइक अ विद्या पात्रा
हाँ
एंड
हाँ।
सरस्वती. आई एम रियली सुपर इनटू दिस.
हम्म।
Okay, so you talk to Swati, so that's the design here. Mm, it's actually nice. We can keep, even if they drop, then we can just keep going.
यस।
Okay, so create a button on the library page. Okay, this is your first task. I've made a, there's a little screenshot here which is talk to Swati. That's a button. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Sahil?
यस सर।
Okay. So एक ये हो
यस
गया.
सर।
Okay, what's the next task? यार एक सेकंड में पूरा स्क्रीन शेयर कर where's Trello? Okay, then we need to figure out how are we going to फिर क्या होगा यार. How are people doing on time? I don't want to keep you guys more than Lokesh, you okay? Or you want to stop?
Yeah, मैं कहता हूँ कि अभी ना लेट लेट अस स्टार्ट विद दिस, क्योंकि फिर ज्यादा का प्लान करेंगे ना तो प्रॉब्लम इज जो इनिशियल क्लैरिटी है वो फिर मिस हो जाएगा।
ठीक है। Figure out API connection with some free service. Uh, Figure out how to capture audio and output audio. Really, if you don't want to do this, you can, I would say you can even do this later. Just start with, I think at least you should be able to talk to it. That would be really nice. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do this. If you run into problem, let's talk about it. My instinct is to like reduce the amount of work as much as possible so we can get to a working version as soon as possible. But I think this audio capturing, if we can do that, will be like ये इतना कर लेते हैं. Yeah, I think that's it actually.
नहीं मैं वही कह रहा हूँ, अभी सॉर्टेड है।
So you click on this button, talk to Swati. Don't even worry about animations for now. Nothing needs to happen on the page. It would be nice if the user knows that something is happening so that the user knows that they should talk. And then they talk, then you convert that, fetch, go query the API, come back, and then the thing talks back to you.
नहीं वो परमिशंस वगैरह का होगा कि डिवाइस का माइक्रोफोन का परमिशन लेना,
हाँ,
तो वो सब काम सब करना पड़ेगा सबसे पहले।
वो तो हाँ देखना पड़ेगा कैसे होगा. मैंने किया था एक बार ही.
ड्राइवर्स का परमिशन लेना होता है, कुछ नहीं अपने सिस्टम में, तो वी कैन इजीली गेट
यार ये
वो
एंड
अलाउ। अरे वो करते हैं ना, अलाउ वाला पॉपअप आता है ना जब अपन
हाँ हाँ हाँ, मैं
जूम वगैरह ओपन करते हैं तो।
यार ये तो यार
Yes,
अब
sir.
कोड लिखना काफी आसान हो गया है यार, बिकॉज जीपीटी सब कुछ कर देता है एक्चुअली. यू जस्ट लाइक नीड टू
एंड
लाइक.
इसका कोड भी डीपसीक में मिल जाएगा, मैं वही कह रहा था।
हाँ, मिल जाना चाहिए इसका कोड. Use as much. So Sahil, when you're writing this, try to like just create like videos like this of how you do it, and use GPT as much as you can or whatever. It'll become a use case of how to.
I am going to use GPT. It gives very optimized functions and all.
Great.
डीपसीक को ट्राई कर लेना, मतलब जिसका जो डीपसीक या जीपीटी जो
Deep,
जो कंफर्ट।
deep, abhi DeepSeek has a problem that after one or two command prompts, it goes the server is not working. So if I rely on DeepSeek, it might just crash at some point.
I think
GPT, I
Claude,
still think GPT is better.
Claude is also supposed to be really good for code, I think, but I don't know. देख लेंगे.
क्लाउड भी
I
कुछ
mean,
नहीं है,
G,
सही है।
uh, more or less, GPT gives very
ठीक है.
good code also.
Sounds good. Cool. Cool. Okay. I think that Sahil, you have an idea, na?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
I think I have. Okay, sir. I have a task. I'll
If you run into
recommendation
issues,
system.
should I create a group with just three of us? एक engineering का group
आई थिंक
बनाना
यू
होगा.
कैन फाइंड मी इन द चैट, राइट? यू कैन डायरेक्टली
Can
पिंग मी।
find you in the chat. ठीक है. Okay. Cool.
Yes, sir.
When you wanna check in? कब बात करें? कल. कल एक बारी बात कर लेते हैं. कल आपके ऑफिस आ जाना. Uh,
You're in mute.
Sahil, you're on mute. Oh, you're not on mute, but I can't hear you. Ah, मैं भी थक गया. Sure. Nice, dude. I'm so excited about this, man. Like, it's so cool, dude. So
So
cool.
hello.
हाँ, yeah,
And
we can hear you.
so what I was saying that I will start doing things on in morning.
हाँ,
I
ठीक है.
will try to do as much as I can, and if I face problem, we'll meet at 7 again tomorrow.
So if you run into problems, I would suggest just chat and message. Don't wait for the synchronous meeting. मैसेज कर देना. मैं एक ग्रुप बना लेता हूँ, एक्टिव इंजीनियर डेवलपर्स, ऐसा एक ग्रुप बना लेता हूँ मैं.
सरस्वती के नाम से बना लो,
हाँ.
सरस्वती के नाम से बना लो ग्रुप।
नहीं यार. Too much to remember that I need there's a certain like uh, logic to the name creation. So let's call it, okay, fine, let's call it Saraswati. Swati. Swati Development Group. Cool. Okay, so just message on this. Don't wait for that. Yeah, ठीक है. Done?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you guys. Looking forward to this.
Thank
It's
you.
really cool, man.
Yes,
Really,
sir.
yeah. All right. Chalo, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. So.